25 years ago, I escaped from a cult. Yep. And honestly, it's kind of been one of the more shameful things in my life for a really long time. There was a time I used to tell this story to everybody, but you'd be surprised to find out that's how I was introduced to victim blaming. How could you let them do that to you? Why would you believe that kind of stuff? I'm way too proud or headstrong to, let that happen. So I stopped telling the story. But that's not the only reason I stopped telling the story. Because you see, I understood that in order to unlearn and untrain myself from everything the church taught me, the church could no longer be my identity. So I needed to focus on myself and figure out who I was. And that was kind of the hardest part, because up to that point, the church had shaped everything about me. And I probably should have gone to therapy, but it was the 90s. That's not something you did. Also, I was poor and I was 19, so didn't have a lot of money. I also had kids to raise because I was a young father. So I just didn't have the bandwidth to process everything I had gone through. But, it took me about 10 years just to simply unlearn what they taught me, and another 15 to really be comfortable with who I am post Golden Dawn Tabernacle. Today, though, it's a whole different ballgame. So I hope that in the telling of my story that it helps others who are going through their own deconstruction. So my goal is to shed light on my specific cult, but also discuss the teachings, rules, daily life, why I decided to leave, and of course the 25-year-long journey to date. Most importantly, I want to share a part of me that I've kind of closed up for a really long time. And I also like to share how they, like many other churches, use the Bible to further misogyny, hate, gaslighting, abuse of children, women and men, and even if they don't know it, as well as how they blur the line between church and state. So this is probably going to shock a lot of people who know me, because I haven't told this story in over 20 years. So if you're one of my friends or family members, just know that this isn't meant to rehash or hurt anyone. It's just my perspective of the events that led to my family being in the church, my time in the church, and why I left, as well as, my excommunication. So I love you all, but I have to get this out of my body. Lastly, I'll share how the message, as they refer to themselves, has left giant gaping holes in my life, the lives of my children, and even ruined relationships because of how I was raised to think. I'm going to break this up into a series because it's simply too long to condense into just one video. So get your popcorn, because this one's going to be a doozy.